Well, we are on the beach again, which means it's time for another camera review. This is Sony ZV-E10. It is basically Sony ZV-1 in a 24 megapixel interchangeable lens APS-C camera. It can shoot videos in 4K 30 frames per second, 100 megabits per second in S-Log2, S-Log3, and HLG mode. It can record slow motion in 1080p up to 120 frames per second. It can do 11 frames per second burst photo with auto exposure and autofocus. It has real-time tracking, real-time eye autofocus, and it records gyro data, and it has electronic image stabilization. Just like ZV-1, it doesn't have an electronic viewfinder or a flash, but it has a flip-out screen and a 3-capsule mic system on top. It weighs 341 grams and it costs $699. So I guess the question is, can you say ZV-E10? And is ZV-E10 any good? I only have one battery for this camera, that's why I'm using external power right now to save the battery for the stuff I'm gonna do later today. How I wish this camera existed when I was starting up. In 2017, when I bought my A6500, it was $1,400. It is such a great time to become a content creator. You can literally go and get this camera and a lens, or get it with the kit lens, and walk outside and start vlogging. So if you're like, hey, I want to be a content creator, poof, your wish is granted. This camera looks very much like all other Sony APS-C cameras with a couple of differences. First of all, obviously we have no electronic viewfinder or flash. And it comes in two colors, white and black. I preferred white for this review because why not? The first thing that strikes me when it comes to ZV-E10, it's this gigantic microphone grill on top, which you may remember from ZV-1. Which means right out of the box, you can start using this camera and start filming, and you can use this windscreen. You just snap into multi-interface shoe mount. This is actually exactly the same thing that we have on ZV-1 as well. Actually, you can exchange these and have a combination like this as well if you like. But this gigantic microphone grill also means this camera is not weather sealed. The on-off switch is moved from the shutter button to the top here. You turn it on and off like this. And now this is zoom in or zoom out. And if you have a lens on this device that supports power zoom, you can start zooming like this. And if it doesn't, since this camera shoots in 6K oversampled footage, you can use clear image zoom with minimum image quality loss, and you can zoom in. When you shut down the flip out screen facing inwards, the camera goes into standby mode without turning the switch off. And to turn on the camera, you can either bring the screen out, or what you can do is when you just hit the shutter button, it just wakes up. This is a great feature when you see something and you just want to start filming as fast as you can. On the side here, we have our headphone jack, our HDMI out, USB-C port, and the microphone in port. The beauty of this microphone in port is that it's not in the way. The strap mounts are different, which means no more triangles dangling from the side of the camera. However, the grip is small. But since the camera is not heavy, it is not difficult to carry. It's not like you're carrying a lot of weight in your hand, which also means, yep, you guessed it, in that tiny grip, we have the old MPFW50 battery. But in my tests, I shot a 4K 30 frames per second video and the battery lasted more than 1 hour and 30 minutes. And the camera didn't overheat and I didn't even see the overheating sign. And the only reason the camera stopped recording is because we ran out of battery. So the battery life seems to be good. Let's say you're a beginner and you bought this camera. First of all, welcome to our world. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. And let's say you don't know much about this camera. This camera makes everything so easy for you. First of all, let's say you're talking about a product. Since the eye autofocus is turned on, doesn't matter where I hold the product will not be in focus. It will try to focus to my eyes, but there's a button here. When I click on that, it focuses to the product, and they call this the product showcase mode. And as you can see, we're switching to the product as fast as we can. You've probably seen people holding their palms up like this. No more, we're done with that. Let's turn that off. Now let's talk about depth of field. As you can see, when I come close to the camera, the background gets blurred. We have a feature here called defocus, and when I tap on it, I think it's this one. And now everything is in focus. This is perfect when you have something to show. Hey, today I'm here in Venice Beach. As you may know me, I come here a lot. And this is the pier, Venice Pier, and apparently they're fixing it. I didn't know there was something wrong with it. Now I want to be the center of attention again, so I can tap on that. So let's talk more about me, you know, classic vlog style. All right, right now everything is set to auto. The picture profile is off, and we're using the microphone on top of this camera with the windscreen, so if I move around there isn't gonna be any wind noise, I hope. And on top of that, the active image stabilization is turned on, so if I start walking, the image is gonna stay as stable as possible. Now the active image stabilization is turned off, but the gyro data is still being recorded. But as you can see, it's a little more shaky than usual, but we gained a lot more from the frame. Now I look a little further away, which is something you have to keep in mind when you want to turn the image stabilization on. Also with this one, it's not a big deal. I can just take this file and drop it onto my computer, and using Catalyst Browse I can apply the image stabilization with the amount of crop I like this. So I can use it this much. Normally it's 28% crop on electronic image stabilization that this camera applies in itself. But with Catalyst Browse, I just applied 10%. And I think that's good enough. This camera also has a feature called Face Priority Autofocus, just like ZV-E10. By the way, we're still using the onboard microphone. The face priority makes sure that my face is properly exposed. So in this car, my face is properly exposed, and when I walk outside, it will not care about the background, and it will make sure my face is properly exposed. The beauty and the curse of interchangeable lens cameras are the lenses. For example, with ZV-E10, you only have one lens. You cannot take this out, you cannot change it. It is what it is. But with Sony ZV-E10, you may find yourself sitting on your couch investing on lenses. And by investing, I mean spilling coins on your lenses. And mark my words, the day prime comes out of your mouth is the day you should know that you're infected. You may not even know what prime is right now, but trust me, you will. And the day, oh, it's only G, it's not G master, comes out of your mouth, yeah. You can connect this camera to your computer via USB-C and use it as a webcam.
for streaming, for conference calls, for anything you like. You get video up to 720p 30 frames per second just with this USB-C connection. And if you like, you can get a cam link from Elgato and bump that resolution up to 4K.
Now let's talk about my setup here. I'm using Sony ZV-E10 with 10-18 f4 Sony lens. I also have Sony's wireless microphone system connected, and I have the Polar Pro variable ND filter on. And I'm not wearing my polarized sunglasses because with the polarized sunglasses the screen gets blacked out. But as I mentioned this in my videos all the time, you can fix that easily by simply applying a film on your screen. You gotta find a film that is bigger than the screen, the LCD screen, and then find this perfect angle that eliminates the blackness that is caused with polarized sunglasses. Of course, needless to say, everything is set to manual, and right now I have 45% battery remaining. So since that part I shot, apart from that part that I shot at the beach with all the slow motions and then probably a lot of footage that I'm not gonna use in the video, but right now I have 44% battery remaining, which is not bad, but definitely you're gonna need more than one battery if you want to use this camera effectively. By the way, this thing is so light, I'm not even feeling like I'm carrying a camera that is more capable than a 1-inch sensor. One thing I realized, if you touch the zoom rocker, if it starts to switch to the clear zoom and then zooms in a little bit, then the eye autofocus stops functioning. So you gotta pay attention to that because it's really right there under your finger, and I was just holding the camera down and apparently I zoomed in and I didn't realize that. So you gotta pay attention to that. I wish there was a way we can disable what the zoom rocker does. The grip is small, and as much as I experienced it right now, it is not a big deal. It only feels like it's coming out of your hand while I was holding the white balance card in one hand and the camera in the other and tried to white balance before a couple of shots. That's only when it felt like it's just coming out of my hand. But while carrying it, it just sits in your hand because it is super light. And I think 10-18 is the way. If you're gonna get one lens, I say 10-18 is the best, as you can see here. Also, there's a red marker around the screen that is telling me that it's recording, because the way I'm holding the camera right now, I'm blocking the tele light with my finger because I'm holding it from the lens. And actually, let me show you. This is how I'm holding the camera. As you can see, the tele light gets blocked, but see, I zoomed in. I did the clear zoom. Let's zoom out. There you go. Now it's much better. That was clear zoom, and yeah, this is the setup, and I think it's pretty good. So if you don't think about the price, it may seem like a camera that doesn't bring much to the table, because it really feels like Sony just took everything they already had and put it into this camera and made it very affordable. So when you think about the price, I think this is a great camera. I think it's fantastic. Oh, the flip out screen makes things so easy, and you can set it to sunny weather in every setting as well. So if you're shooting 4K 24, 4K 30, it doesn't matter. You can turn the screen on to sunny weather, which makes the screen the brightest, and you can see what's going on even under this situation. It's pretty good. All right, now let's talk about things that needs a little improvement. Rolling shutter is still there. It's the rolling shutter that we know and love from all Sony APS-C cameras. Second, the crop. As soon as you apply the electronic image stabilization, in-camera electronic image stabilization, it applies a huge crop. I wish there was a setting in the camera that we can change this, or maybe it doesn't need to be that gimbal-like. Maybe we can just apply, I don't know, 12%, 10%. I feel like that's the sweet spot when it comes to electronic image stabilization. if you're gonna shoot in S-Log like I do right now, between certain ISOs, there is a tint shift. So make sure you pay attention to that. And the last one is the menu. It's the old menu. I wish it was the new menu because the new menu, now we're getting used to the new menu, but it is the old menu. That's it, I'm done complaining. Let's go home.
Sony ZV-E10 is for people who are looking to get into interchangeable lens world with an affordable and long-lasting camera. This is a great device to start learning, and it has room to give you more when you want to get out of the auto mode and take control of this device. Plus, when the time comes to switch to a more professional one, ZV-E10 still can be your B camera, grab-and-go camera, or streaming camera. I think it fills a missing category for people who are looking to get into something better than the 1-inch sensor cameras without breaking the bank. In the end, ZV-E10 is such a light, versatile, capable camera, and if you ask me, skip the kit lens and go with 10 to 18. This is gonna be a really good combo to start. Well, thank you very much for watching this episode, and I hope you enjoyed it. As usual, what I think doesn't matter. What matters is what you think. What do you think about Sony ZV-E10? What do you think about its name? What do you think about its price and its capabilities? Is this a camera that you would like to pick up? Is this a camera that you can have as a secondary camera? Please let me know in the comment section below. And until I see you the next time, take really good care of yourselves and hoşça kalın.